Good morning, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Eli, here it's raining non-stop. How's the weather by you?
It's beautiful, I'm sorry to say.
Over here it's really, this morning was really raining. Look a second, פרשת משפטים. פרק כ"א, there are many הלכות of הלכות רוצח here. We are going to start with the Eved Knani. So this is פרק כ"א. זה פרק כ"א פסוק י"ב, מכה איש ומת, מות יומת. This is a regular murder, and the punishment for murder is saif. באשר לא צדק, if it's an accidental murder, והאלוקים דינה לידו, שמתי לך מקום שינוס שמה, designated 48 cities, the 6 big ones and the 42 that every shevet had to designate. You know the Rashi Eli and Pasuk Yud Gimel?
Okay.
והאלוקים מן לידו, says Rashi, ולמה תצא זאת מלפניו? Why should Hashem arrange for this man to die accidentally by this fellow? כאשר יאמר משל הקדמוני ברשעים יצא רשע. ומשל הקדמוני הוא התורה, שהיא משל הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא קדמונו של עולם. והיכן רש"י? והיכן אמרה התורה ברשעים יצא רשע, והאלוקים מן לידו. It's a complicated philosophical concept, but the concept is אמת, no matter what. במה הכתוב מדבר? You have it like it's the second half of the, it's a long Rashi. והאלוקים מן לידו, the second half, you have it there?
Yeah.
במה הכתוב מדבר? בשני בני אדם. אחד הרג שוגג ואחד הרג מזיד. You have two fellows. One is a real shogeg, one is mezid. אבל לא היו יודעים בדבר, excuse me, minute. Eli is in Florida. Now he will be in a minute. ולא היו עדים בדבר שיעידו, זה לא נהרג, רוצח במזיד, cannot be killed because there are no witnesses, וזה לא גלה. והקדוש ברוך הוא מזמנם לפונדק אחד, זה שהרג במזיד סידי גדביים, זה שהרג בשוגג עולה בסולם ונופל על זה שהרג במזיד בהרגות. ועדים מעידים עליו ומחייבים אותו לגלות. So basically Rashi says והאלוקים מן לידו means even crimes It was done quietly. By the end of the day, if you have the big picture, so here the one that killed accidentally is killing now, and he goes to him, the one that killed the Messiah is being killed. And so we're going to focus now. Good morning. We're going to focus now. We're going to focus now on the murder of an Eved. The pasuk says like this. So a regular murder, we see if there are witnesses, the punishment is saif. Look at pasuk chaf. This is Perek Chaf Aleph, pasuk chaf. V'chi yakeh ish et avdo. Avdo is Eved Knaani. O et amato b'shevet. Yeah. Shevet, the article that translates as a rod. What difference does it make if we struck him with a fist or a rod or a stone? We'll see later in the Rambam. Umet tachat yado. So this is the owner of the Eved Knaani. Please remember that the Eved Knaani legally is like a property. The master can sell him, but is a full-fledged human being. So if the master killed him, umet tachat yado, nakom inakem, so his master is getting saif. You look a second on page 420, 420 pasuk chaf. V'chi yakeh ish et avdo et amato b'shevet. The master struck his non-Jewish slave with a rod, umet tachat yado, and he died instantly or within 24 hours. Nakom inakem. The master is being held as a regular murderer, and the master is being killed. If somehow the slave survives a day or two, which really means that day, no you come, Kikaspo. Let's see the Rashi on Pasuk. Look at Rashi, page 422, Rashi, Pasuk Chaf Aleph.
Do we say that this is a mezid, that he intended to kill his slave?
Otherwise, you cannot kill
There's
him.
no other way. And there were witnesses. There was a warning, like any other killing.
If the Resha of the Pasuk Gila said that you kill the master, the Saif, obviously the Dimanatra. They really see the Rambam why this is a very interesting case.
But why is there a diuk of shevet? When you talk about a regular man, it's not.
I was raising the question before, and the Rambam from all the Rishonim says something fascinating, which means the Rambam understood that if the Adon was striking him with a stone, the halacha would be different. But Shevet, in a minute, we'll see the Rambam in a minute.
Okay.
Achim yom yomayim, I'm reading the Rashi. Achim yom yomayim ya'avod lo yukam. She brings the question of the Gemara. If the slave survived the day, the master is not being executed. Al yomayim lo kol sheken. Ela yom shehu kiyomayim ve'ezeh zeh me'at me'at. Which means if the slave, after it was struck, so 24 hours, lo yukam kikaspo. Kikaspo, after all, the slave is the property of his master. Ha'acher she'ikau, but if a stranger, a neighbor, struck the Eved, אף על פי ששעה מעת לעת, קודם שמת חייב. A slave is a regular person. Even though as far as the master is being treated as property and the master can sell him or buy it, if a stranger kills him, it's not like killing a cow, it's a regular murder. Even if he died after a month, if he died from the makkah, you kill him.
Why is there a difference between, I don't know if there's a difference, but here you could wait a day or 2 days. By a regular man, is there a difference if you have to wait a day or two?
No, But this is the point of Rashi. She says, if a stranger, a neighbor killed this Eved, is being treated as a murder of a regular person. It makes a difference when he died. As long as it's clearly that he died from when you strike him. What was it?
It's missing 20 pages.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
But this is not the same halacha if we kill a goy. If a man just kills a goy, correct?
The Eved Kanani is like killing a Jew here, but if he survives 24 hours, it's patu. If you're killing a goy, we'll say later the Rambam.
So it's different because, as you say, because he's like a woman, because he's kiwi, like he's mitzvot.
Being treated as a Jew, a regular Jew, he's chayav b'mitzvot. He underwent brit milah, he went to the mikveh.
I see.
The regular Jew. Okay, let's look in Rambam now. Sefer Nezikin, Eli Nezikin. Chod Rotzeach. This is Chod Rotzeach. Sefer Nezikin. By the end of Sefer Nezikin, you have Chod Rotzeach. Yes. So now look at the Rambam. Give me one. Please look at Rambam Sefer Nezikin. Chod Rotzeach. It's page 121. realize it's fascinating שרמב"ם כותב הלכות רוצח בספר נזיקין, לא כתב את זה בהלכות סנהדרין. מעניין מאוד. Says the Rambam הלכות רוצח פרק ב', please open פרק ב'. הלכה י', הלכות רוצח פרק ב' הלכה י'. Says the Rambam, אחד ההורג את ישראל, if you kill a regular Jew, או ההורג עבד כנעני, הרי זה נהרג עליו. Which means killing an עבד כנעני is a full-fledged murder. אם הרג בשגגה, בורא, the same as by regular Jew. Okay. Now, we're talking about the Eved Kanani because the Eved Kanani is mechuyav b'mitzvot HaKanani. So even though, remember, when he becomes a slave, his master has to put him in the mikveh, and he has to undergo brit milah, and he's chayav to fast Yom Kippur, he's chayav to keep Shabbat. Yes. Yes. Correct. You mean we're going to come back. Says the Rambam. It's my talk about money. We'll come back. Look now. Look at Halacha Yud Bet. I'm skipping Halacha Yud Aleph. This is your question about the regular goy. Regular goy or ger toshav. Look at Halacha Yud Bet. Ma bein avdo le'eved acherim. Listen carefully now. שהעבד שעבדו יש לו רשות להכותו. He is the property of his master. לפיכך, אם יקהו הכאה שיש בה כדי להמית, the same as by regular murder, בית דין evaluates if the strike and the weapon and the distance and the strength can kill, ונטל למות, ועמד 24 שעות, ואחר כך מת, לא היה נהרג עליו, אף על פי שמת מחמת המכה, שנאמר, לא יוקם כי כספו. Okay. But, Go now to Halacha Yud, then we go to Yud. Go to Yud for a minute, and we're not going to focus now on a goy, but only in relation to the Epic Nahani. Says Rambam in Perek Bet Halacha Yud, ברishona, מי שהרג גר תושב, אינו נהרג עליו בבית דין. מי זה גר תושב? This is a Gentile, lives in Israel. He was מקבל 7 מצוות בני נוח in front of 3 people, and he's really keeping them. אינו נהרג עליו בבית דין. In a minute you'll see the Kesef Mishneh is מדייק, the full-fledged murder. אינו נהרג means the punishment. It's not the same, but the עבירה, זה עבירה הפכת צריכה, כך אומר, מה זה אינו נהרג? ואם הרג בשגגה, אינו נהרג עליו בבית דין, שזה מה, ואין צריך לומר שאינו נהרג על העובד כוכבי. Even Ben Noach, who keeps the 7 mitzvot, we would not execute beside the killer, ודאי הגוי, twice אינו נהרג. ואחד ההורג את עבד האחרים, הוא ההורג עבדו, but if it's your slave, as Ezra pointed, your slave means you was taken to the mikveh. Yeah, there's a brit milah. You know that if you purchase a slave, a non-Jewish slave, you have to tell him, in my house, you have to keep this and this mitzvot. If he refuses, after a year, you have to get rid of him. Every Eved Knani that you buy, you have to tell him what to expect. You have to take him to the mikveh. He has to undergo a brit milah. If not, after a year, you have to sell it to another boy, to another Jew. So says the Rambam here, ואחד ההורג את עבד האחרים, או ההורג עבדו, הרי זה נהרג עליו. Why? שהעבד, here is the key, קיבל עליו מצוות, here, בנוסף על נחלת השם. קיבל עליו. Otherwise the master would get rid of him. קיבל עליו מצוות השם, fine. So now, before we raise the question, the pasuk says, if the master struck him with a shevet, shevet is a rod. Why is the Torah choosing the rod as an example? Comes the Rambam. Remember, this is one of the very few places, very few means 100, that the Rambam is using the language Yera'eli. Yera'eli means I have no proof from Talmud Bavli, Yerushalmi, Yera'eli. So look in Yudalet. Yudalet is one of those cases. Yera'eli, שהמכה את עבדו בסכין. הוא באתי angry on you, הוא stabbed him בסייף, או באבן, באגרוף, which are weapons. Yes, ועמדו למיתה, and it was evaluated that this strength, distance, and etc. can kill. אינו בדין יום או יומיים. It's my slave. Even if they ever died a month later, I'll be killed. Why? I have no right. Even though it's my property, to strike him. אלא אפילו מת לאחר שנה נהרג עליו. Where did the Rambam take this חידוש? לכך נאמר בשבט, שבט is a rod, שלא נתנה תורה רשות להכותו, אלא בשבט, rod, מקל, stick, רצועה, and whip, ולא בהכאת, סליחה, an amazing Rambam, yes? So the Rambam understood that the fact that the Torah chose this example is to teach us your slave is a regular person. Nevertheless, you have the right to force him to war. You can use strength.
But a rod is not a lethal weapon.
This is exactly what the Rambam says.
It's not a lethal weapon.
So if you struck him strong with a rod and he died within 24, you're still dead. So if you struck
That's why it's
the other idea, says the Rambam, you're a murderer, even a year later is Chayam Mitzvah.
Well, Rabbi, that's why I asked you if it was mezid and their witnesses and all that, because it seems that the pasuk is telling us that the guy got carried away by hitting him.
You hear what Eli says? The witnesses who are standing there are telling him the strength and the anger that you're using the rod might kill him, but if you kill him, you are chayav mita. This is what mezid is about. Yes.
So it's not a premeditated murder.
No, it's not really.
He doesn't go in there with the rod saying, "I'm going to kill the Eved."
Yes, he's walking with the rod every day.
Second degree.
Because the Rambam says that the master has the right to enforce or force his slave to walk. So it's not a premeditated that I'm waking up in the morning with a gun in my pocket and I'm coming to shul, but the minute he starts to strike him, again, because he refuses to do some work, says the Rambam, the witnesses are telling him the way you do it, the strength, and one after the other, this is potential murder. Otherwise, you cannot kill him.
I don't know if this is a kula or chumrah, because Perek Shelishi, Rambam tells us exactly what you're supposed to do. You look at all the factors, right? Rod, stick, old, young, morning, night, how hard, how many times. So now this, what the Torah said, Yom or Yom, is this a chumrah or kula?
It's a kula and chumrah. The kula is that after 24 hours, somehow we're not killing you. Hell, not all over. Obviously, it's a murder. Because if you would have died, but this, so read it, let's read again.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
We have Sha'ar Ba'alechanim. Kal v'chomer a human being. Well, why should we be able to hit a human being when we can't even hit an animal?
Right. Are you permitted to use your rod when your horse doesn't want to go? Answer is why yes. You cannot cause unnecessary pain to animals. Yes.
Right. Okay.
You eat on Shabbat, you ate the chicken on Shabbat. You killed an animal, no? Everything that you do to animals for your own reason, how come if there is an insect in the wound, you're allowed to spray and kill it? There's Rabbi Feinstein. No, it's not okay. This is the wound was given to us to use, not to kill for pleasure. Yes? Or the Nadabi Yehuda has a tshuva, yes? A wealthy man, whatever it was in Europe, wants to know if he's permitted to go hunting for pleasure. Says to him, Vaday asu. Hunting for pleasure. If you are killing instantly to use the feld or to sell the meat to others, so this is the same answer. When the master bought the slave, he has to know you're here to walk. In the same way that I can use a rod for my bulls, I can use it for you. Nevertheless, this is what the Torah is saying. If you are overdoing it, and as Eli says, and of course this is the case, to the point that people are telling you the way you do it so often, so strong, he might die, he doesn't. Okay? So again, if the slave, according to the Rambam, was struck with a rod, if he dies within 24 hours, assuming, as Eli said, as the Rambam says, this was too strong, right? Now, let's look in the Rambam. Take the same Rambam you have. Go now from Hilchot Rotzeach go to Hilchot Sanhedrin. The same volume that you have. Go all the way in the back of Hilchot Sanhedrin. All the way in the back. Sefer Shofetim. The Rambam says as follows. Just a minute here.
So impressed all the time how you're able to.
I prepared it, but you think I'm just the Rambam says again, go in Perek Yud Gimel Hilchot Sanhedrin. Gimel. Okay, let's go to Yud first. Yud Bet. Perek Yud Bet, it's page 31. 31, page 31, Hilchot Sanhedrin. Let's go to 31. 31. Says Rambam, כיצד אני עם דיני נפשות? This week's parasha, many times. כשיבואו עדים לבית דין ואומרים, ראינו פלוני זה, identify him, שעבר עבירה פלונית, אומרים להם, אומר בדקה, walking into court, מכירים אתם אותו, can you identify him? Yes. התראיתם בו. Did you give him a warning?
Yeah.
אם אמר one of the witnesses, איננו מכירים אותו, או נסתפק לנו נתשו, או שלא יתרו פה, הרי זה פתור, there's no way to execute or put him on trial. Trial, Rambam
Pre-trial testimony.
says Rambam further, אחד תלמיד חכם ואחד עם הארץ, צריך התראה, שלא ניתנה התראה, אלא להבחין בין שוגג לבין זיק. Okay, so this is a separate issue, but the Lechem Mishneh learns that this. The guy is a Talmid Chacham Gadol. He knows that killing is asur. The shogeg of the Rambam is not, maybe I'm permitted to kill him. Yes? The shogeg is, are you aware that the act that you are doing is an act of murder? לא בין שוגג, בעלי ושוגג. לא ידעתי שבשבת בורר את הסוג. זה שוגג, yes. He knows that רוצח ישראל. Are you aware that the activity you are busy doing now is leading to murder, yes? Let's say in the case of the slave, are you aware that the strength you're using, right?
Lead to death.
ככה אומר לך משנה, otherwise זה לא יכול להיות. If the Rambam says שלא ניתנה התראה אלא להבחין בין שוגג למזיד, ההתראה is to make sure you are מזיד. The guy is a scholar, I have to tell him, of course he knows. Says the Lechem Mishneh, brings it to the Magid Mishneh, fine. Let's continue. The Keitzad, pay attention now. The Keitzad matrin bo. How is the warning being given? אומרים לו, פרוש, stop, move away, or אל תעשה שזו עבירה היא, וחייב אתה עליה מיתת בית דין. So part of the warning is what you are about to do is asur and you're chayav mitayla. We spoke already a few times. But the Rambam's opinion is even if you're not telling him the exact mitah.
Sorry if
what you're doing now.
Definitely, we're not talking
Tell
about
him
the
what
method.
you are about to do now is mitah. The guy is about to strike a cigarette on Shabbat. Yes, you have to have a skill up. This is chiyuv mitah. What you're doing now is chiyuv Shabbat. Punishable by death or malchut. The guy's about to bite into a cheeseburger. You have to tell them to take a bite. Malchut. If piresh patur. Stop, obviously. וכן,
פירש פטור,
פשוט, the main reason is saying it for the next. וכן, אם שתק, he's quiet. Or
Who's quiet? The witness or the perpetrator?
the one who receives
The message.
וכן אם שתק או הרכין בראשו, he bows down, פטור.
הפירוש,
תשמע עוד רגע. ואפילו אמר, יודע אני, I know, לא טוב, I know, פטור, למה? עד שיתיר עצמו למיתה, ויאמר, על מנת כן אני עושה. It is.
Just to say,
The guy has to say,
declare, like,
I know that
And
I'm
no.
chayav mitah and I'm doing it anyway. Because when he bows down and he says, yes, I know, what do you know? Are you aware clearly that what you are about to do is mitah? This is why it's so difficult, man, to
convict
find,
somebody.
yes. Now, look further. Now, the most difficult halacha that most of us are unaware is, וצריך שיעבור ויעשה תכף להתראה בתוך כדי דיבור. אתה שומע סמי? Me and Sammy gave the warning within 3 seconds. He has to light the cigarette. If it's 5 seconds, no. I mean,
Like it wasn't long enough to sink in, so to speak?
which means, I mean,
Opposite.
running. In our age, did it happen to you that you went into a room and you forgot why you went in?
What else is new?
This Joe used to tell me always, when you get to, which means I want to be aware that the minute
In the
you
moment.
leave,
In the moment. In the
you know exactly what it is.
Rabbi Prague,
Which
where,
means-
Related against,
which means
against capital punishment. 'Cause
Doing your best. And
they have
this
to-
is why the Gemara says in Masechet Makot that the
Once in
regular
70
Sanhedrin
years,
is 70
how many
years.
killed?
Now the problem is, it comes out here that every sophisticated murderer, well, I can kill many people.
Yeah.
No, there was no jail, right? There was no.
Rabbi Prague,
Yeah.
They can lock
could you define where else in halacha do we have Toch Kadei Dibur and how it works?
Yes. Now, Lachav Toch Kedei Dibur applies every time you testify in court and you finish your testimony. If within Toch Kedei Dibur you take back what you said, it's accepted. Otherwise, it's over. Whatever you said is accepted. If a person is doing okay, of course the Seratim Eichuvah is evident, but the Gemara says ve'ilchata toch kedei dibur kedibur dam chutz mekadesh megaresh obed avodah zara megadef. Yes, any avera that requires a kavanah, if toch kedei dibur you take back. This is halacha across the board. Now here the problem, of course, is every sophisticated murderer. Yes, if you read Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment, says the Rambam, go back now, keep your finger here, go back to the Rambam Ilchot Rotzeach, Sefer Nezekim Ilchot Rotzeach. Look how carefully the Rambam is. Of course, it's not the Rambam, it's the Gemara. Look in Perek Dalet, Ilchot Rotzeach. It's in page 123.
This is what Rambam says, that you can't have murderers running around. It's a
Correct.
crime against society. So
Correct.
therefore you have to kill them indirectly.
הלכה ח' עם רמב"ם. says the Rambam in הלכה ח', ההורג נפשות ולא היו שם עדים רואים אותו כאחד. This is even a more odd case. It is. You have two witnesses, but they didn't see it exactly at the same time. אלא ראו האחד אחר האחד, which means I saw how he starts to stab him at 12, and the second witness saw it at 12:01. But they never saw the actual murder from A to Z together. או שהרג בפני עדים בלא התראה. The witnesses were shocked, so they forgot to give him a warning. או שהוכחשו העדים בבדיקות. When we investigated witnesses, we asked them, did the murderer wear yellow tie or blue tie? If both say, I don't remember, it's fine. If one says blue, one says red, red. Says the Rambam, call, which means the man is definitely a murderer, but we cannot really execute you because of technicalities. Yeah? This is what the job of good lawyers. Yeah? Says the Rambam, Kol Eilu HaRashchanim, all these cases, consume oto lekippah only by retzicha. You bring them to a cell, uma'achilim oto lechem tzar u'mayim lachatz. We put him on a strong diet, ad sheyetzeiru me'yeihem, until his intestines are shrinking. ואחר כך מאכילים אותו שעורים, we purposely give him שעורים that expand. עד שתיבקע קריסם, until basically we cause him death. Why? Because the guy is a murderer. You cannot really execute. Says Rambam, here it is.
That sounds like Elohim Ali Ado. It's very.
But it's much more than that. Here
Yeah.
The court makes sure this murderer is out. Says Rambam, ואין עושים דבר זה, נשאר מחויבי מיתות בדין. A person is smoking a cigarette on Shabbat. Two witnesses were shocked. They forgot to give him a warning. Or two witnesses saw him one after the other. He's smoking a cigarette. We cannot kill him with skila because legally the warning was not there. Says the Rambam, we would not do what the Rambam does. ואם אלא, אבל אם נתחייב מיתה ממתים אותו, if all the procedures that are needed for warning and etc. are done, ואם אינו חייב מיתה פותרים אותו. This is good to the Rambam.
But how do they judge whether or not he's a true murderer?
Have a second. שאף על פי שיש עוונות חמורים משפיכות דמים, חילול שבת is worse. The punishment is סקילה, שפיכות דמים is sight, number 3. אין בהם השחתת יישובו של עולם, שפיכות דמים. But if a person has a relationship with a married woman, a person desecrates Shabbat, and etc., it's bad. But you are not destroying the fabric of society. אפילו עבודה זרה. ואין צריך לומר ראיות או חירוש, עבודה זרה. If the warning and the testimony is not perfect, the עבירה היא סכינה. אינם כשפיכות דמים, שאילו עוונות הם מעבירות שבין אדם למקום. So they are bad, the punishment is the highest סכינה, nevertheless, אבל שפיכות דמים מעבירות שבינו לבין חברו. וכל מי שיש בידו עוון זה, הרי זה רשע גם הוא. לא משתמש בשום מקום במילים האלה. ואין כל המצוות שעשה כל ימיו שקולים כנגדם. You murdered someone, what that you did cannot atone for that, ולא יצילו מן הדין. צאו למד מאחיו. Look at the Rambam is going out of his way. עובד עבודה זרה, הרי נאמר בו, רק לא היה כאחיו. The amount and the scope of his spreading עבודה זרה לא היה כאחיו. Nevertheless, says the Rambam, וכשנסדרו עוונותיו וזכויותיו לפני אלוהי הרוחות. When the heavenly court is putting on a scale, look at the Gemara is praising him. The man used to really give tzedakah to people, etc. לא נמצא עוון שחייבו כליה, ולא היה שם דבר אחר ששקול כנגדו אלא דמי נבואות.
Wow.
He spread עבודה זרה like no one before, after him did. But
He killed Navot.
שנאמר ותצא הרוח, זה פסוק. ותעמוד לפני השם, זה רוח נבואות. And the spirit of Nevot is suggesting, can I lead him into going to war? Yeah, go, yes. צא וגם תוכל. והרי הוא הרשע, אחאב, לא הרג בידו, he didn't kill him. His wife hired עדי שקר, אלא סיבב. קל וחומר והורג בידו. So let's go back now to the Rambam Hilchot Sanhedrin. Emet, the warning has to be within Kedei Dibur and Emet. But if all of those are not met, but it's clearly that he's a murderer, the Rambam says, we'll take care of you. You're not going to.
But how do you? Who determines? First of all, who determines whether or not it was really murder? Meaning, if they don't have a court and they don't, analyze the facts, maybe
They have two perfect witnesses. And the witnesses did not give the proper warning. But they saw the murder in their own eyes.
But does the Beit Din interrogate the witnesses?
Of course.
Do they go through it? I'm saying, so they go through a whole process?
Of course.
Some authority.
The Rambam gave us the end. The Rambam gave us the end story. Beit Din interrogates, and when they are convinced that this was a full-fledged murder, but there's nothing we can do.
And he testifies too if he wants. Like
the Gemara that you learned in Daf Yomi is only that he can interfere and find a zechut. Zechut means a legal reason that this is not a murder. But if it's definitely a murder, the zechut here would not help you.
And what, I mean, it's limited to murder, and then the Rambam's talking about other things, but what about other things that affect society, like gezel or rape, some things like that? If you're going to do it for murder, why wouldn't you do it for other things like that?
I'm saying because murder is destroying the flesh. Shubha Shalom.
No, I got it, but they're doing it for the community's sake. And if you're doing it for the community's sake, where do you, you could do it, you could say that about gezel, you could say that about rape, you could say that about a lot of it.
Rabbi, the perpetrator that dies this way, does he get kapara?
It's an interesting question. The answer is most likely not. Because only if you kill him legally,
If he's executed by Betin,
and
then
he
he will
does,
get kapara.
and he does teshuvah, only then, here, you are dying. Why should you have a kapara?
Rabbi,
Like a
Rabbi, you gave us a case once that if a person admits that I owe half the money, then we make him swear. Now, can we apply that same logic here? I admitted that I did the murder. Now, do I need hatra'ah and everything else?
The Gemara says in Makot, and Tosafot says, no one can incriminate himself when it comes to physical punishment. If you come and you say, last night I went out late at night, I had a cheeseburger, you cannot give you Makot. Physical punishment, you need two witnesses and you need a warning.
The question for Yeshua Shalom, I understand you have two perfect witnesses. But what would they do for a perfect witness and a videotape? Or a perfect witness and three women?
It's
Or
an
a perfect
interesting
witness
question.
and your relatives?
Sam is asking if you have a perfect video on a murder and one witness. The second was the video. So of course you cannot kill him. So he's asking, question is, should we administrate what the Rambam says kippah?
today's word could have been hacked.
Kippah. I'm talking about
Keep
kippah.
it hacked.
He's asking, can you give him kippah?
I know.
הממשלה מעניינת מאוד, לא יודע.
What if it was hacked? We don't know what's legitimate anymore today.
How much more perfect you want than a guy admitting that he did it and he's of sane mind?
Okay, it has to be real.
What's real?
Now, please,
Videotape could be done.
keep in mind that the Gemara says that the Beit Din has an emergency power. Things go out of control in society on a temporary basis that can really administrate punishment. מעשה באחד ולאחיו על סוס בשבת, אחיו על סוס בשבת, וניסו לרבנן. It's stoning. For what? The Gemara says because we didn't have an emergency power.
Like the secular, like
So
martial
here,
law.
what the Rambam just told us by murder, it's an example how it's put in halacha. The halacha says to begin, you have to do it. This is it. In other averot, going back to Jeffrey to your case, if Beidin feels that whatever, let's say Gezel gives the guy is Beidin on a personal base, has the right to give him punishment much stronger than by others. Yeah? The Bet Levi once, their Yom Kippur, many people, mainly from the poor, used to stay up all night, say Tehillim, and then Bet Levi old days. It's a very wealthy guy is joining this group. He says to you, go to sleep. No teshuvah is not saying the Tehillim. No teshuvah is giving more to the kind of the contract. I'm out. It said this is Rabbi Shulchan. Yeah, this is the wrong. They say, well, ich will sagen Tehillim. He says, Tehillim babayit. Poor. Obviously, you're trying to atone for something. No teshuvah is use your money properly to. Now let's go back to the Rambam. And let's ask the following question. Listen carefully.
Back to Sanhedrin.
Yeah, okay, but let's ask it in general. Let's say, listen carefully now, a man divorced his wife. Normally, she has to wait till we know for sure if she's pregnant or not. She has
She wants to be
90
married.
days. She did not wait 90 days. She waited 60 days.
Oh.
And here she gives birth. We are not sure if A is the father or B is the father.
That's if she gives birth in the 7th.
No, obviously.
She gives birth in the
No,
9th.
don't do that.
7th.
Now, what happens if this kid is a bully?
Does that count today with DNA, Rabbi?
What? What?
DNA, so about DNA.
Okay, the rabbis today talk about it. In difficult situations, they allow the DNA, but normally they say 90 days. Just remember, the question of DNA is a very innocent one. It's clearly his son. But the minute you put a green light on the DNA, people will take it. Same as you said, the government cannot interfere in education. What's the bill? What's the big deal if the government just tells you ABC? The minute they put their hand in, anyway, he strikes A, you cannot kill him. Maybe it's not your father. He strikes B, you cannot kill him, even though between the two.
One of them is his father, but we don't know.
Even though between the two, one of them
Badai hit his father. Badai hit his father.
This is called Hatra'at Safek. Hatra'at Safek. I'm giving you a warning, but you don't tell me don't strike my father. The only time is Chayav Mitah if it takes these two people and head to head. Then you know that in the same time, one of them is your father. Okay? Otherwise, remember the together. So otherwise, it's called Hatra'at Safek. Comes Rabbi Frank, he's asking a very interesting question. Here, going back to your question at the beginning. The master is holding a rod. That's the Rambam. And he is really violently striking his Abed. So we have to give him a warning. Otherwise, you cannot kill him. What's the warning? If he dies in 24 hours, you kill him.
So it's not definitive.
How do you know? It might,
it
might be 36
There's no,
hours.
can't evaluate.
Every time why is it not considered by an evidence that that's a fair? Of course, potentially what I'm doing is Chayav Mitah, but only if he dies within 24 hours. If he
Wait a minute. The Shevet, you're telling me a Shevet, wouldn't there be a difference between a Shevet? I think makes it very specific. That's why they're using the word Shevet.
But this was Eli's question. It says in the Chumash, we began today with the Chumash. Yes?
Good.
Then he dies within 24 hours, he's dead. Wait a minute, you kill him. Obviously, there was a warning. What was the warning? The warning is if you kill him, you are Chayav Mitah. But you cannot tell me if I kill him with this Shevet, I'm Chayav Mitah. He might stay for 36 hours, 25 hours. I'm going to show you the same question in other places. So this is what he says. He says something very, very, very important to Ilchot Hatra'ah, and he says even if the Eved died 36 hours early, you are a murderer. You are a murderer, but legally we cannot punish you. He says Hatra'at Safek is if I tell him if you strike A, you're Chayav Mitah. Maybe he's not my father. B, maybe he's not my father. Here, the act that you do is definitely a murder. Can we kill you or not is the question. But if the Maaseh is definitely a Maaseh Asur, the Safek is only what would be the exact punishment because of the outcome. The only God writes Safek. So he brings a very interesting raya. Listen to this. It's a very, very interesting raya. Open Rambam, Sefer Mada. You have to take it out. Sefer Mada, Ilchot Avodah Zarah.
We don't know if Ramban would kill him indirectly here.
What?
If Ramban would even kill him indirectly. I guess maybe he would, but
No.
Didn't you teach us that you give them barley and something, blow up their stomach, reduce their stomach, or something to do with that?
Oh man, we had that before. When they didn't have enough evidence, they put him incarcerated.
We just read it, man.
You open Rambam, Sefer Mada Ilchot Avodah Zarah, Ilchot Avodah Zarah. Should say on top Ilchot Avodah Zarah. פרק ו'. הלכה ג'. good, פרק ו', פרק ז',
Oh, this is the famous one.
This is a Gemara, but the Chukma, we'll open it for the Kesef Mishnah. פרק ו' הלכה ג'. וזה פסוק לחומש, twice, ומזרעך לא תיתן להעביר למולך, yes? הנותן מזרעו למולך, מזרעו, one of your kids, ברצונו ובזדון חייב כרת.
Girl too?
פרק ו' הלכה ג'.
No, I asked if that applies only to men or applies to girls too.
זה לא משנה.
לא משנה.
מזרעו, מהילדים שלו. ואם עשה בעדים והתראה, נזכר, נזכר, שנאמר, אשר ייתן מזרעו לבוא לכבוד יומת, לכבוד יומת. As for learning דף היומי, we learn from רוב ועידונים, זה סקילה, fine. והאזהרה שלו מנין, what is the warning? Every time you have a punishment, let's say, in Parashat Kedoshim for forbidden relationships, you have in פרק י"ח, אחרי מות, the warning. והאזהרה שלו מנין, שנאמר, ומזרעך לא תיתן להעביר למולך. This is a warning, לא תיתן להעביר למולך. ולהלן הוא אומר, לא יימצא בך מעביר בנו וביתו.
No, before, by the way.
Yeah, Larry, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
כיצד היו עושים? מדליק אש גדולה, ולוקח מקצת זרעו, he takes some of his kids, הוא elaborate on that, ומוסרו to the priests עובדי האש, ואותם הכהנים נותנים הבן לאביו, אחר שנמסר בידם להעבירו באש ברשותו. You beg over your son, your brother to the priest. Okay, the next piece in Rambam is the Rambam's opinion, not everyone knows that this. The Rambam says, והביא הבן הוא שמעביר בנו על האש ברשות הכהנים. According to the Rambam, you gave it over to the priest. They gave it back to you. Now you, the father, you are מעביר, ומעבירו ברגליו מצד זה לצד זה בתוך השלבת, and you're not burning him. The father is passing his son who's doing the legs in the fire, לא שהוא שורפו למולך כדרך ששורפים, he's not burning him, he's not לעבודת כוכבים, אלא בהעברה בלבד. This is the Rambam's opinion, שם ראשונים דיסציפלין. Fine. בסדר? But you realize the Rambam twice told us, Mizaru, some. Now the Rambam in Halacha Dalet elaborates on it. אינו חייב כרת או סקילה, עד שימסור בנו למולך, ויעבירו ברגליו באש, the same way. Now listen. Masar, he gave your son, he gave his son his daughter to the priest. ולא העביר. העביר ולא מסר, it has to be, you gave it to the priest, they gave it back to you, which is okay, the green light, fine. ואינו חייב, עד שימסור מקצת זרעו, ויניח מקצת. You have 3 kids, you gave 1, you left 2. You have 2, you gave 1, you left 1. אבל, okay? שנאמר כי מזרעו נתן למולך, מקצתו ולא כולו. מזרעו.
So if you only had 1 child?
Oh, good.
1 out of 3. So.
Yeah.
No, he's asking now, what happens if you have 1? This one is called Zaro. He's asking, good. In a minute, look at Kesef Mishneh. Look at Kesef Mishneh. ואינו חייב עד שימסור. You see the כסף משנה הלכה ד', the second half. כסף משנה הלכה ד', the second half. Right here. ואינו חייב עד שימסור, יביד רני? ואינו חייב עד שימסור, שם ממרה דס סנהדרין דרבה חברי דרבי. וכתבו התוספות, please listen carefully what it says. ואם תאמר, מכמה היא חייבת? He's asking a simple question. You're telling me that if I have two and I did both of them, I'm patur. But I became chayav already by one. When is the case that I'm patur if I'm giving all my kids?
Oh,
Every time you give one, you're chayav already. The second one is my second. But the first, so the Tosfot answer what Sammy said a minute ago. ויש לומר כגון שאין לו לבן אחד. There's only one child. Okay, so what's the logic here? Fine. The Maharsha talks about it. The Maharsha says you have to be crazy if you have to give it. The Maharsha says,
must be insane.
yeah. No, he says all the Christians are laughing at us. Which type of a group is that? You have one, Chayav Mitah, it's what it's fine. Says the cat, so remember, Tosafot are asking again. I have two kids. I did the first one, I didn't do the second. If I do the second, I'm patur on the first also. Why? I'm chayav already to chiyuv mitzvah. I have one, fine. So the second
Almost incentive to do the second one.
Look what the case of Mishnah says. ולי נראה, remember this is very easy, case of Mishnah, אין הרבה כאלה.
Where's it?
The second half of the case of Mishnah, right after. At the top of Vav Lamed Nun, you see by the end of the page, ולי נראה, you see Vav Lamed Nun there?
Three lines.
What is it?
Yeah, okay. 3 lines. Okay.
You have it?
Okay, yeah.
We started here, so we listened to it.
ואם תאמר לי, ולי נראה, תסתכל סמי, on the left side, the last 2 lines.
Okay, yeah. Oh, believe in it.
ולי נראה תזכור, this is the case of Mishnah, gives a different answer to the first question. ולי נראה, ואם עבר כמה, חיובו, תלוי ועומד. He says like this, when you pass the first one, your חיוב מיתה is hanging in the air. אם לא העביר יותר, חייב. ואם העביר יותר, נפטר מחיוב. He says, you pass the first one, say, hey,
You're liable.
you're liable, but we cannot punish you until we see what happened to the second. Very nice. Which type of a warning did you give? So every time a man is about to pass his first child, it's a affair. Because if you would do the second,
You don't know what the outcome's going to be.
my woman, if I'm, because the Mishnah answers Tosfot's question, says, you are chayav. But we have to wait till.
What's the warning? What's the crime?
What's the warning?
What's the warning? What's the crime? What's the punishment?
Says Rabbi Frank, here is the same idea. You are chayav, the act that you do is definitely an act of molech. Question is, can we kill you or not?
Based on the warning. And the
This is not a Tzafed. Here, the same question that we had by Evan. The question was, how can you give the master
You
a
don't know if
warning?
that's going to survive.
Warning. You don't know if he's going to survive or not. What you're doing is an act of murder. Can we kill you for that murder or not? Depends, 24 hours or not. But Tzafed is if the act that you do, we're not sure if this is Chayav Mitah or not.
The Gemara is making a fuss about mizaro.
There's a milah, mizaro.
So if I wrote zaro, you'd say
אם היה
it
כתוב
has to be
זרו.
all of them.
לא,
If I
לא,
said mizaro, you have to say
ודאי,
all of them.
אם היה כתוב זרו, ודאי היינו אומרים כל הילדים. This is exactly בדיוק the Gemara.
When do you want to say he's chayav? As soon as he hands him over to the Kohanim, to these guys. Now, whether the kid survives, whether they end up doing the whole thing, as soon as when's the Haftarah is when he gives them to the Kohanim.
You gave it over to the Kohanim and they gave it to you. And you passed the kid through his lens. Now we have to wait and see what happened with the other
So
child.
the father was.
Yeah, but where's the warning? When is the warning? I should say.
The warning
Where's it? Then you're gonna have to give
before
okay the board.
is before you are doing it to the first one, because if you give it to the Kohanim, the act of giving it to the Kohanim is nothing. You're passing him through the fire if you gave it to the Kohanim before. So the two witnesses saw that you gave it to the Kohanim. They saw the Kohanim gave it to you. Then you're passing him in the fire. The Rayat Shuma, you hear the act is definitely the act of murder.
But we don't know.
Can we kill you on it or not? Because of the diuk of the pasuk Mizaracha, we have to wait and see. This does make it a Tarat Safed. See?
Would you say the same thing about cooking?
What?
Would you say the same thing about cooking? I put something on the fire. We don't know if it's going to end up boiling in 2 hours from now.
A very good question. Hila is asking now, someone is cooking on Shabbat. Puts a fire. The answer is the warning is, Eli, if you leave it on the fire,
X amount of time.
this is
This is the warning. Everybody knows a set amount of time.
מבשל. לא משנה מה יהיה בסוף. Of course you can stop it in the middle, but as far as the act, it's a full act.
Right, but if it's stopped in the middle, he's not going to be. You're not going to kill the guy.
Everyone agrees that you are patur if you stop, but the act that you are doing now is a full act of bishul. This is what bishul is about.
You want to say it's chagin b'chay? You want to say it's
The same question is by Zoreh. Someone is planting on Shabbat, he decides in the afternoon to put it out. When you planted, this is a full act of Zoreh.
Rabbi, a burger on the grill takes 20 minutes to get there. So if you 10 minutes, you pull
Right,
it off.
this is the last question.
10 minutes, you pull it off. If it didn't get cooked.
So you want to say as soon as he puts it on the fire, he's going to be chayav karet.
Eli, listen good. Another act interfered with the first.
Right.
Other act would not be interfered. The act of putting it at the fire is full.
Do we have any other examples of where it's a two-step process like it is with Molech, that you need both? And if you don't have both, you only have one, you're patur?
It's unique. We have to think.
And then going back to Tokadei Dibor, is that the same if I make a bracha to blow the shofar, to hear the shofar, and I wait 10 minutes, do I have to make a new bracha?
Let me show you. You asked before. Listen now.
I didn't want to bother you, but now that we're at the end, I figured I could.
Listen a minute. A man heard that one of his relatives died. This is good now. Right away on the spot, he ripped his garment. Then he hears, no. It was not your father. So the rule is, if betoch kadei dibur, even though your kavanah, or example I gave you, he heard his father. He heard that this fellow died, and he ripped. And toch kadei dibur, we heard that this is his father. The kriya is a kriya, even though the ripping was not for his father.
Not for his father. Wow.
The answer is, here you see how far toch kadei dibur goes. You see that in the language that you learn in yeshiva is,
Kavanah.
the halot of the act is not a full halot until toch kadei dibur. The toch kadei dibur is deciding, if you want, I'll tell you, a man is mekadesh a woman, the toch kadei dibur, he puts the money away. The kaladin, she should not be the kodesh. For the same logic exactly. Okay, the Gemara says that chachamim took it away, otherwise it would be hefker.
Yeah.
So the Gemara says that toch kadei dibur k'dibur dami, chutz me'letadef u'bel avodah zarah. If you want to see how far this goes, but there's no time, but I'll read you anyway the Gemara. Listen to the Gemara in Bamot, I have only one. It's not one of these popular Gemara. The Gemara says that the fellow reached the age of 13, but he did not bring yet puberty signs. And he's eating chelek, he's eating mamash chelek.
It's really not right.
So I'm reading to the language of the Gemara. The Gemara says he ate from the age of Achal Chelev, he ben 12 ad ben 18, and by 18, he brings legal simanim of a saris, which means you are an adult.
And he was never.
The Gemara says retroactively he was a gadol from the first time, yeah, in 13. There is again. תוספות, ונקי על חלב שאכל. Listen, it gets מלכות. זה לא חשיב התרעת ספק. Again, the man is 13, he doesn't have previous eyes. If 18, 16, 17, he has certain סימני סריס, לא סריס. אף אגב, בשעת התראה היה ספק שמא יביא שערות. Maybe he's going to have previous eyes. והשתא מיה הגלה למפרע שהיה גדול בשעת התראה. The same idea. Eating chalev is definitely asur. The question is it, are you a gadol and you are chayav makot or not? Let's wait a year, 2, 5 years to see. Says the Acharonim, what is Tosafot saying? He saw it now 3 times. Striking your slave forcefully is an act of murder. Even if he stays 48 hours. Are we going to kill you or not? Taking your kid, passing him through the fire is more. Okay, there is a technicality. Mizarov lo kozaro. You have 2 kids, we will not kill you. But it's not that that's a fact.
But it's murder anyway. It's not avodah zarah.
We agree. The crime is done.
The biggest chidush is here, because normally right now is a katan.
Even a warning is not
Okay,
legitimate.
so tomorrow's class will be when a katan does an avera, shmato, is it considered avera? But we cannot punish you. It counts nothing. For instance, if a goy slaughters an animal perfectly learned, shechita half a year, he knows it better than a rabbi, taref, not. If a kid at 11 knows a chod shechita, and he's told that it's good, why? The kid and the goy are both the same, not why you can eat non-kosher. This is a question all the Achronim are asking. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Should we learn tomorrow at the same time or before? Tomorrow is out. Sam, you are going to work tomorrow?
Is tomorrow a holiday or we're learning at 7:10, Rabbi?
Okay, if not,
What's good for you, Rabbi Prague?
what?
What's good for you?
We'll learn a regular time. We'll learn from 7:15 till 8:16.
6:25 pray before.
6:25 minyan pray after.
Regular
class.
7:10.
Good. Have a wonderful day.
Rabbi, before you hang up, I want to ask you a quick question, if you can.
Yes.
So, Rabbi Mansell gave in 2 separate classes 2 things that we had learned before we talked about. I wonder if you could reconcile. First, he talked about Abraham, that he didn't keep Shabbat completely because B'nai Noach, he be chayav mitah. We did that.
Talk about it. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it. Second thing, he brought up the that Shabbat was kept, or Chaim brings a chain of everybody kept Shabbat.
2, 3 places.
Right. Can you reconcile
the wall? Someone kept Shabbat. Yes.
Can we reconcile the 2?
The same answer you give for Abraham, you give for Adam. Remember
In other words, so you have to say that he meant to say that.
Listen carefully. One of the famous answers is Abraham Avinu was wearing Arba Kanfot, 24 inches with tzitzit. Yes. If he's a goy, tzitzit is nothing. If he's a Jew, it's a beggar. So this way. So if you really want the best answer that the Achronim give, one is tzitzit. The best answer is like this. Up to Matan Torah, the day belongs to the upcoming night. Before Matan Torah was the opposite, yes? So they say that Abraham Avinu and Adam and Enosh and Chanoch do this. Were mechalel Shabbat and Motzai Shabbat. So as far as a Jew, he didn't keep Shabbat. as far as a goy, he was mechalel Shabbat. Really, like this is a makne, one of the greatest achronim. The Baal Haflam gives this answer. Before Matan Torah, there are many halachot. The day belongs to the upcoming night. So Shabbat was yesterday and last night. So Avraham Avinu lit fire Saturday night. It was mechalel Shabbat as far as Shabbat. He didn't keep Shabbat. It was not mechalel Shabbat according to Jewish law. But as far as the war is going, it was mechalel Shabbat.
But well, every time we have a discussion, I want to understand what is the significance of whether the Avot kept the mitzvot or not. I mean, why is it so important?
Answers, many questions and answers are being answered by yes or no. The Mishnah Melech is the first one that wrote the Sefer Parashat Rachim. And he's raising the question and he has a very lengthy discussion. Yaakov Avinu married two sisters. Anyway, if you want for tomorrow, I look at the last Mishnah in Masechet Kiddushin, last Mishnah.
Okay.
Yem Avraham Avinu et kol haTorah kula shene'emar, Eikev asher shama Avraham Eikev 172. Avraham died at 175. Yes?
I didn't keep.
The child, at the age of 3, started to get interested. It's a Mishnah. So the Mishnah Melech wants to know, was it just Avraham? And Eli is asking, but you cannot keep Shabbat. So the really, the most solid answer, Eli, is Saturday night. Tomorrow we'll talk Katan.
So that keeping Saturday night works for the for Orach Chaim's answer that they kept the
Of course.
Aha. Okay. All right. Thank you, Rabbi.
Well, thank you.
Interesting.